Your symptoms may include numbness and tingling in your feet or hands, difficulty sleeping from leg or foot discomfort, and debilitating balance problems. I have good news for you. You can now get relief with our breakthrough treatment method without the use of drugs or surgery. Our treatments help to heal damaged nerves that cause peripheral neuropathy. If left untreated, you may eventually end up with a walker or wheelchair, so don't delay. Call our office now to schedule an appointment to see if our treatment methods are right for you. We will do a painless neuropathy severity exam to determine the amount of nerve loss. If you qualify for our treatment, it can truly change your life. Start living your life pain-free. Call today.
Join the conversation when you're on the go. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to stay up to date. Newswatch 12, from where you live. Weather Watch 12 with Devin Biggs, 5 to 7 a.m.
November 8th, we'll decide what kind of state we're going to be.
Right now on Newswatch 12 today, as midterm elections are near, candidates continue to express the importance of their perspectives to voters. We'll tell you what the latest hot topic is. Plus,
clouds will be on the increase today, eventually giving way to a slight chance for rain showers. Your full forecast is coming up.
And a lawsuit may work to block student loan forgiveness in Wisconsin. It's Wednesday, October 5th.
Your local news and weather from where you live. Newswatch 12 today starts now.
Good morning, and thank you for waking up with us. I'm Jackie Smith. If you haven't gone out and done any yard work or anything you need to do outside, you might want to get on that because today could be your last chance to do so. We have Devin in the Weather Center. And Devin, can you give us a little more insight on this last beautiful day that we have?
I know, right? Yeah, the clouds are moving in today, though. We may have a slight chance for a few rain showers. But as far as nice temperatures are concerned, no. Unfortunately, today will be that last day to really enjoy it as temperatures will be cooling off starting tomorrow. But right now, though, as we take a look at things, we're looking pretty decent out there this morning over in parts of the Walsall area. Some people already making that morning commute to work or school. But otherwise, though, a few clouds moving in from the southwest to the north and east. This will continue to build in throughout the day, and we'll start seeing a slight chance for a few rain showers during the afternoon period. Better chances later tonight and the parts of tomorrow, too, as we'll be watching a couple systems moving in. Here's one from the west that's going to influence us today. Also one toward the north that we have our eye on, and the one to the north will really change our lives with some cooler temperatures with 40s possible for highs over the next day or so. But temperatures, they're not too bad starting things off this morning. We're in the middle to upper 40s right now, although a little bit lopsided over in Lincoln County. We're in the upper 30s to lower 40s out there this morning. But as you do head out the door today, overall, we will become mostly cloudy. You may notice the sunshine from time to time with temperatures in the upper 60s to lower 70s.
A Missouri man pled guilty to a cattle fraud scheme that he tried to cover up by killing two Wisconsin brothers. On Tuesday, 28-year-old Garland Nelson pled guilty to mail fraud and being a felon in possession of a firearm. Nelson admitted that in July of 2019, he had a business dispute with brothers Nicholas and Justin DeMille from Shawano County. The brothers were in town from Wisconsin to collect a $250,000 debt that stemmed from a cattle deal. When they went missing, Nelson admitted that he shot and killed the 24 and 35-year-old at his mother's farm, then burned their bodies. When those human remains were initially found, Nelson told prosecutors in 2020 that he disposed of the brothers' bodies, but he denied killing them. Before agreeing to the plea deal, Nelson was set to go to a jury trial in February where he would have faced the death penalty. And on Tuesday, Lakeland Union High School hosted a 7th District congressional debate. Republican Tom Tiffany and Democrat Dick Osmond discussed inflation, January 6th, and the state's worker shortage. The debate was organized by 4 high school juniors. Representative Tiffany talked about solving broad issues like the economic state of the country and also warned against domestic and international security concerns. He said he hoped to appeal to the hardworking students who put on the debate. Osmond expressed goals a little closer to home. He said he's for gun control, but stops short of calling for bans. He said the income cap on contributing Social Security should be abolished and that people shouldn't go bankrupt because of medical bills. On Tuesday, Senator Ron Johnson acknowledged he exchanged text messages with one of Donald Trump's attorneys on January 6th. He added that the House committee investigating the January 6th attack smeared him because it didn't publicize all the text messages between his and Pence's aides. Johnson has previously distanced himself from the scheme, telling a local TV station in August, quote, "My involvement in that attempt to deliver spanned the course of a couple seconds." Johnson defended previous remarks he made about that attack being mostly peaceful, saying that he said the same of Black Lives Matter protests in 2020. Johnson argued few weapons were confiscated, but protesters, quote, "did teach us how you can use a flagpole." And a conservative Wisconsin law firm is suing to block student loan forgiveness. The Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty filed a federal lawsuit calling President Biden's loan forgiveness plan discriminatory. The law firm is calling for a judge to block the loan forgiveness until the lawsuit plays out. Biden enacted the debt relief plan under the HEROES Act. 40 million Americans would benefit from the student relief plan. The Department of Education estimates that student loan cancellation would cost around $300 billion over the next 10 years. The one-time loan forgiveness would help low and middle income families. They would get up to $20,000 in debt relief. A special session called by Governor Evers ended in under 30 seconds on Tuesday. Governor Evers called for a special legislative session next month. He wants lawmakers to consider allowing voters to introduce ballot initiatives and referendums with the ultimate goal of giving voters the decision to repeal the state's 1849 abortion ban. The Wisconsin Senate convened for 15 seconds to gavel in and adjourn. The special session called by Evers to pass a constitutional amendment would create a pathway for a vote on the state's abortion ban. And Wisconsin Medicine is addressing national employee shortages by focusing on workforce development. The medical school is expanding programs to train the next generation of healthcare workers. Wisconsin Medicine will roll out a new nursing recruitment program and expand a community-based healthcare apprenticeship programs. EPIC will be funding the program, and everyone receiving training will be employed at UW Health with educational costs covered by the program. In Wisconsin, there are more than 8,000 open healthcare positions. The medical school estimates there will be 3 to 4 million open positions for clinical and support positions by 2026. It's been more than 100 days since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Some Democrats marked this week's controversial milestone by urging abortion right advocates to vote. Amy Kiley reports us amid some indications the issue might be fading for voters ahead of midterms.
Our bodies, our lives, our right to decide.
Democrats are trying to energize abortion rights supporters before elections next month. That's as some polls suggest voter fervor might be waning.
November 8th, we'll decide what kind of state we're going to be.
Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers called a special legislative session yesterday. He asked lawmakers to let voters decide if the state should keep its 1849 abortion ban. Republicans who control the Assembly and Senate ended the session in fewer than 30 seconds and without action.
Congress should codify the protections of Roe.
Abortion access is a rallying point at the federal level, too.
We're short a handful of votes. So the only way it's going to happen is if the American people make it happen.
In Georgia's Senate race, the issue is center stage for a different reason. Republican Senate nominee Herschel Walker is issuing a strong denial after the Daily Beast reported he paid for a girlfriend's abortion 13 years ago.
I never paid for an abortion, and it's a lie.
But will abortion be a key factor in the midterms? 4% of people called it their top concern in Gallup's most recent survey last month. That's down from 8% in July.
American public have an important role to play. They can make their voices heard on this issue.
We want justice. We want it now.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Coming up in international news, Prince William gave his first speech as the Prince of Wales. We'll tell you what he said. Plus, learn about Australia's 10-year plan to have 0 extinctions. Those stories and more news from around the world when we come back.
No one expects to see me at their doorstep.
But it's happening more because of Tony Evers. Evers released hundreds of violent criminals from prison. Some of the worst offenders in Wisconsin history. Some struck again.
And others will.
That's why we are with Tim Michaels. He'll keep dangerous criminals behind bars.
Out of our homes and off our streets.
As a veteran, Tim Michaels knows how to keep Wisconsin safe.
We stand with Tim Michaels.
Okay, let's start with some clouds, some mountains over there, and finally a river. Hey, Dad, look.
Looks like the perfect spot.
American Family Insurance is here to protect your family on the road with the Travel Peace of Mind package. Get a quote or find an agent at amfam.com. Insure carefully. Dream fearlessly.
American Family Insurance.
Welcome. We're so glad you're here. Looking for one of our most capable Ford SUVs? Okay, great. We've got you covered. Spacious interiors, innovative tech, good looks, and a legendary off-road experience. Check out our inventory today, or let us help you place a custom order. Getting into the perfect Ford SUV? Well, it's easier than ever. Yeah, we've got you covered. Now choose FlexBuy on a 2022 Ford Escape or Edge and get 0% financing for 66 months.
It's the final days of Antigo's Lakeland Furniture. October 9th is the final day. After 35 years of business, Lakeland Furniture in Antigo is closing its doors. Save now while the selection is best. Save on quality furniture for every room in your home. Make us an offer. No reasonable offer will be refused during Lakeland Furniture and Mattress in Antigo's final days. Reclining sofas, sectionals, recliners, bedroom and dining sets. Free financing available and all credit levels welcome. Hurry in. Final day, October 9th.
Welcome back as we start things off this morning. Over in Wausau, looking pretty good at this point. Some people already making that morning commute to work or getting ready for school this morning as well. Otherwise, we're looking pretty decent out there for now. We're going to be watching for increasing clouds throughout the day. For now, we're partly cloudy, but there's some rain off toward the west. We'll be watching for some of that moving in during the afternoon with a slight chance for a few rain showers possible. Better opportunities later on this evening, though. We have this front right here that's moving in from the west to the east. That one's giving us the rain showers today, but tomorrow this one's going to be our influence. So with not only some rain showers, but also some cooler temperatures and maybe a little bit of snow that could try to mix in before we're all finished up. No accumulations, nothing to get too worried about. You'll just notice it, and that'll be about it. But temperatures right now, though, are pretty cool in a few spots, not too bad in others. Let's start over in Lincoln County. We're in the upper 30s to lower 40s this morning. Other areas, though, in the lower 40s like Land O'Lakes, near the Rhinelander area and Eagle River area, we're in the middle to upper 40s. So overall, not too bad out there this morning. Temperatures have been on a little bit of a warmer stretch recently. We were cool for a few days. Now we're warming up again, and now we're about to really cool down. So these above average temperatures that we're enjoying even in the 60s and even 70s. Today is the last day of that before we really begin to cool off. Our average high temperature is still in the lower 60s for this time of the year, though. We'll make it today into the upper 60s to lower 70s, so it'll be pretty nice out there before we really cool off. Thursday, 50 degrees. That high will be hit early as we'll cool off into the 40s and 30s throughout the day. Thursday night, any leftover precipitation can mix with a little bit of snow again. But Friday only making it into the middle 40s. And then we warm things back up as we head towards the weekend and the next week into the upper 50s to lower 60s. Your fall foliage map, we're getting close to that peak time frame, though. We're normally supposed to hit around early October, and a lot of our counties are starting to really come in with some near peak fall foliage. We'll be able to show you that map later on. I'm working on updating it now. But otherwise, so it's really starting to show that areas in the northwoods are near peak. The futurecast for today, though, increasing clouds today, slight chance for a few rain showers this afternoon. Later on tonight, a few more rain showers could possibly move in, and also into the daytime tomorrow as well, especially as that front passes through and then things really begin to cool off. But notice what happens Thursday night as we get some of those cooler temperatures moving in, some of the leftover precipitation, and some of this could come off of Lake Superior too, could possibly mix in with a little bit of snow before we're all finished up. So that forecast for today, mostly cloudy with a slight chance for afternoon rain showers. Highs in the upper 60s to lower 70s with that southwest wind gusty up to around 15 miles per hour at times. Later on tonight, cloudy with a few rain showers. Lows in the upper 40s. That northwest wind getting up to about 5 miles per hour. For your Thursday, rain showers and falling temperatures. Highs in the lower 50s, though. The north wind gusty up to around 25 miles per hour at times. And the Northwoods Furniture and Mattress 7-day forecast. All right, there it is. Lows in the upper 20s Thursday night and barely warming up as we head towards Friday. But things get better, though, through the weekend. We'll have temperatures making it in the middle to upper 50s. And Monday and Tuesday, there are more rain showers in the forecast. Small chances. Temperatures in the upper 50s to lower 60s.
Thank you, Devin. Japan and the U.S. held joint jet military exercises on Tuesday in response to North Korea's missile launch. Video released by Japanese Ministry of Defense showed Japanese F-15 and F-2 firefighter jets flying with U.S. F-35B fighter jets in air. Nuclear-armed North Korea test-fired a ballistic missile further than ever before, sending it soaring over Japan for the first time in 5 years. It was the first North Korean missile to follow such a trajectory since 2017. Its estimated 2,850-mile range was the longest traveled by a North Korean test missile, which are usually lofted high into space to avoid flying over neighboring countries. In response to the test, U.S. and South Korean warplanes practiced bombing a target in the Yellow Sea, and Japan warned its citizens to take cover. It was the latest in an escalating cycle of muscle flexing in the region. North Korea accuses the United States and its allies of threatening it with exercises and defense buildups. And the U.S. announced plans to provide an additional $625 million in military aid to Ukraine. President Biden provided details on the latest aid package in a call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The new aid package includes 4 high-mobility artillery rocket systems, ammunition, and armored vehicles. This round of military aid marks the first time the United States sent additional HIMARS to Ukraine since July and will bring the total number of them sent to Ukraine to 20. The White House said this drawdown will bring the total U.S. military assistance for Ukraine to more than $17.5 billion since the beginning of the Biden administration. And Prince William was keynote speaker at the United for Wildlife Summit in London on Tuesday. The event was attended by 300 delegates from law enforcement, conservation organizations, and the private sector. It was William's first speech as the Prince of Wales and since his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, died. The heir to the throne said, quote, "In times of loss, it is a comfort to honor those we miss through the work we do," end quote. According to a press release, Williams spoke about illegal wildlife crimes such as poaching ivory and its damaging impact on communities and global biodiversity. William created United for Wildlife as part of the Royal Foundation in 2014. According to a press release, the organization has contributed to over 450 law enforcement cases, 250 arrests, and almost 200 seizures of wildlife products. And Australia is committing to a zero extinctions with a new plan to protect 30% of its land. The country has one of the world's worst records on extinctions, but it hopes to prevent any more species from dying out in the country with the new 10-year plan to protect its most threatened plants and animals. Australia's Minister for the Environment and Water said the Labor government had a very ambitious target. The plan brings Australia in line with more than 100 other countries pledging to protect 30% of their land and 30% of their ocean by 2030. The time is 5:16, and coming up in medical news, if you're planning on getting your fall vaccine soon, find out some ways to make it all a bit easier. Plus, see what a new study shows about the impact of taking antidepressants while pregnant. Those stories and more health news when we return.
Find your style today with Patriot Lighting ceiling fans from Menards. Choose from our huge selection with over 40 in-stock options. Patriot Lighting ceiling fans add elegance to any room and reduce energy costs all year round. We carry a great selection of styles and finishes, so you're sure to find the look that's right for you. Save big money and get 11% off all Patriot Lighting ceiling fans right now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Violent crime up across Wisconsin. Families nervous about their safety. Yet Mandela Barnes called for releasing half of Wisconsin's jailed inmates. That would mean releasing over 10,000 criminals right into our neighborhoods. 10,000 reasons your family would be in more danger. Barnes also supported defunding the police. 10,000 more criminals with fewer police to protect us. What could go wrong? Wisconsin Truth Bank is responsible for the content of this advertising.
When you see things differently, you can be the difference.
This green space will help the Sustainability Committee reach our goals years faster than our initial projections.
Capella University looks at education differently. Our FlexPath learning format lets you set deadlines and earn your bachelor's on your terms. Make your difference with Capella University.
I'm Caleb Stolzman. I've lived in Rhinelander the last 9 years, and I'm the service manager. One of my favorite things about Caseric coming into town is their core values. They focus a lot about community, teamwork, individual growth, and coaching. We've been able to go through with a mentor program, getting our entry-level techs trained up to their next level and potential. And it's really just came around full circle to help the guests that we have in our community or those visiting our community.
Tim Michaels' company has been sued numerous times for sexual assault and harassment in the workplace. But he says
people love working at Michaels.
Women said they were groped, assaulted, and pressured to have sex with their bosses.
We have a great work culture.
Higher-ups called the women liars and fired those who spoke out. So when he says this,
we have a great work culture.
Know that the culture comes from the top.
And welcome back. Here is that latest fall foliage map for you right now. We got a few questions about Vilas County yesterday being a little bit lower than what many were saying. The latest update in this morning showing a more near peak, though. So a lot of those fall colors really becoming beautiful here in the North Woods. Get outside and really enjoy those before those leaves begin to blow away.
Thank you, Devin. After a 2-year decline, suicide rates in the U.S. rose in 2021. Friday, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reported about 48,000 people died of suicide in the U.S. last year. That's nearly 1,700 more than the year before. Researchers found overall men are 4 times more likely than women to die from suicide, a gap that continued to grow in 2021. Suicide rates in the U.S. have been rising for decades and have increased 31% over the past 20 years. And a new study says pregnant women shouldn't worry about taking numerous types of common antidepressants. According to a study published Monday in the JAMA Internal Medicine Journal, use of these drugs is not linked with medical concerns like autism, behavioral issues, and mental disabilities. The findings are based on more than 145,000 women and their children over a 14-year span. Researchers say roughly 20% of mothers-to-be will face a mental health condition while carrying a baby. Previous studies over the past few decades said antidepressant use while pregnant could cause problems, but those involved with the study say the quality of that research could be lacking. And as we head into the fall season, concerns continue about the spread of COVID-19, the flu, and other illnesses. Health experts say the best way to protect yourself from getting severely sick is to get vaccinated. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has tips on how to make the process of getting all the recommended fall vaccinations easier.
It's that time of year again when viruses tend to ramp up.
It's definitely vaccine season right now.
The 2 most recommended to get before fall gets in full swing, an updated COVID-19 booster and a flu shot.
This year it's going to be even more important to do both.
That's because the flu season is expected to be more severe this year. Coupled with COVID-19, that could mean crowded hospitals. Dr. Barbara Bauer with the Ohio State's Wexner Medical Center says you can make the process of getting all those shots easier by stacking vaccines.
Really, there's no data to show that if you get them all on the same day, that's going to make you feel worse or, it's going to cause you more side effects because you got 2 or 3 shots instead of just 1.
Bauer says to also take time to rest. Don't be afraid to give yourself a little break after getting fall vaccines and have over-the-counter pain medication on hand that can help relieve any discomfort. Finally, start early so your body has time to build up a defense to the viruses.
Go ahead and get them, between now and absolutely, I would say no later than the first week of November.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Coming up, see the uproar that was made at a fishing competition in Ohio. Plus, the national record for the largest pumpkin has been broken. Check out what this new pumpkin is all about. Stay with us.
We're paying more for food, gas, and rent. But Tony Evers wants to take even more of our money. He tried to raise the gas tax by 20% and double the tax on our heating bills. Evers wanted to use our tax dollars to pay people who refuse to work. And he wanted to give taxpayer-funded benefits to those who entered our country illegally. Evers even opposed drug testing for those getting welfare. We just can't afford 4 more years of Tony Evers.
I experienced upper back and neck pain and tightness that caused severe tension headaches pretty much on a daily basis.
Hi, I'm Dr. David Drager. The first thing we do when somebody comes as a new patient is we sit down and we listen. We talk. We have to put the puzzle together. Part of it is you have to have an accurate diagnosis. So many people come in with a misplaced diagnosis, and it leads to years of unnecessary pain.
After regular chiropractor adjustments and the Atlas Pro Felix treatment, my symptoms are gone. I feel amazing. I'm grateful for my care that I experienced at Drager Chiropractic.
I'm a Vegas hotel. I know what you're thinking. It's cool. I don't want anything long-term either. Just a few nights of fun. I'm looking for someone who will let loose. Dress up a little. See a show. Order the steak and the lobster. Some people say I'm excessive, but who cares? I just want to enjoy some late nights. And some very late checkouts. Think you can keep up?
Tim Michaels' company has been sued numerous times for sexual assault and harassment in the workplace. But he says
people love working at Michaels.
Women said they were groped, assaulted, and pressured to have sex with their bosses.
We have a great work culture.
Higher-ups called the women liars and fired those who spoke out. So when he says this,
we have a great work culture.
Know that the culture comes from the top.
Welcome back. So here in Wisconsin, we know the world of competitive fishing is serious business with big money on the line. So evidence of cheating didn't go over so well at one tournament in Ohio last week. Two fishermen, longtime competitors, and repeat winners at the Lake Erie Wally Trail Fishing Tournament were about to take another title win when it was discovered they had placed weights inside their fish. Many in the crowd were outraged by the find, yelling at the fishermen and demanding answers. The alleged cheaters, Jacob Runyon and Chase Kaminsky, would have walked away with a prize of about $30,000. Instead, they were disqualified from the tournament and are now being investigated by Ohio's Department of Natural Resources for possible charges. And the national record for the largest pumpkin was set in New York over the weekend. Scott Andrus brought his massive pumpkin to the Great Pumpkin Farm in Clarence, New York, where it weighed in at 2,554 pounds. Andrus's pumpkin broke the national record for pumpkin weight, which had been 2,528 pounds. However, it fell short of the Guinness World Record of 2,702 pounds. The pumpkin will be on display at the farm until October 16th. You know, someone better get a hold of Linus and Charlie Brown, because that right there is the Great Pumpkin. I don't know. I always loved that little cartoon when I was a kid. I still watch it every year, but I do wonder, what do you do with a pumpkin that big? Like, it's going to rot, or do you just make a bunch of pumpkin pies? We have Devin on the weather deck. And Devin, what do you think you would do with an over 2,000-pound pumpkin?
I wouldn't know either. I just know it's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Got to get that movie out and ready to go. One of the fun classics of the season. But otherwise, starting things off this morning, I know for those of you thinking about enjoying anything pumpkin-related, pumpkin-flavored anything or whatever, it's going to be very nice out there this morning. Even Bug Zero right behind me really enjoying things, too. Temperatures right now in the 40s and 30s. We're kind of all over the place this morning with regards to the temperatures this morning. Some areas seeing some clouds, others not so much. So not too bad here in Rhinelander this morning. Radar and satellite showing that we are in a little bit of a clearing for now. We have clouds off toward the west, moving toward the east. A slight chance for a few rain showers possible later today, though. So be ready for that. Better chances move in later on tonight. A wider look at the picture, though. We have a couple fronts, one off toward the north in Canada and one off toward the west. The one toward the west will be moving in today. The one to the north moves in tomorrow. And our lives really change temperature-wise. So today's the last really nice day. Your travel forecast for today showing temperatures that will be in the 70s across the western parts of the state. Make sure clouds and sun, slight chance for a few afternoon showers. Same general idea for us as well. Some clouds, temperatures in the 60s. A lot more coming up after the break.
You can always find great-looking furniture at incredible everyday low prices at Slumberland Furniture. Like these modern sectionals and sofas, starting as low as $3.99. And always free doorstep shipping. Get your look for less at Slumberland Furniture.
There's no other place where my story is possible. My mom was a teacher. My dad worked third shift. It was our ticket to the middle class. That's the promise of America I'll fight to protect. While others send our jobs overseas, I'll bring manufacturing back, invest in our own workers, and stock our shelves with American products. And with a middle class tax cut, you'll be able to keep more of what you earn. I know the promise of America, and no one will fight harder to protect it. I'm Mandela Barnes, and I approve this message.
Sue right, Jake middle, me on the left.
Yeah, I knew I'd win.
Are you saying
What's
something?
really happening over there?
I think you're on mute.
There's no substitute for real gaming fun. Go where fun lives. Old Chum Gaming Wittenberg. And Doug.
It's nice to unwind after a long week of telling people how Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. Showtime. I'm on fire tonight. Yes! Lulu, you're a natural. We're not counting that. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Sore back but hate mattress shopping?
Yes. Totally dread it.
Totally.
Totally.
Come to Slumberland and see how we've made mattress shopping easy.
How easy is that?
So easy.
So easy.
Get your sleep solution at Slumberland Furniture.
You're watching Newswatch 12 today with Jackie Smith and Devin Biggs.
Good morning, and thank you for waking up with us. It's a dream come true for a Wisconsin man who taught himself how to carve pumpkins. And now he's showcasing his skill in front of a worldwide audience on a new season of a Food Network show. Anthony Ferretti reports.
When I started carving, I said to myself, if I could be on Food Network doing that.
We're back.
Bias is a self-taught pumpkin carver who finds himself in the spotlight among the nation's best after a casting company reached out to Bias on Facebook looking for contestants.
They wanted to know if I was interested in being on the show. And I said yes, and the next thing I know, I'm on the Food Network.
Bias didn't always carve pumpkins. In fact, he specializes in turning fruits and vegetables into flowers. He originally moved to Rockford to be a realtor. That is until a friend called him to ask if he's still carving.
He says, I need a pumpkin carver. And I'm thinking, I don't carve pumpkins. And I agreed to it.
Using the tools and experience Bias learned carving flowers into fruits, he learned to carve faces.
Once I get a basic form I want, and I just do this in the mirror, and I'll look at it, and I'll touch my face to feel the muscles and how they react to these different expressions.
Bias hopes sharing his passion with others will spark the next generation of carvers.
I think that's important, that they learn to pursue, they learn to go after something, and they also learn to learn.
As a lifelong carver, Bias says landing the gig on Outrageous Pumpkins is a dream come true.
The whole time I've been in this industry, I'm looking at that as kind of like to measure my progress. So now I'm there.
And his pumpkins are seriously amazing, and we are definitely all going to be rooting for him in Wisconsin, especially because I cannot carve a single, even a line into a pumpkin. It is just not there for me. My name might be Jackie, can't make a jack-o'-lantern. We have Devin in the Weather Center, and he seems to be a fan of that. I can't carve a pumpkin. What else can I say?
This is my slow clap this morning. Then again, I can barely carve a pumpkin as well. For those that remember last year, we did a pumpkin carving thing as well, and I can barely do it as well. I needed a little bit of help with mine. So you almost say a jack of all trades and a master of none. That's kind of the way I describe myself sometimes. But otherwise, so starting things off this morning, I know pretty quiet over in the Rhinelander area. Not many people making that commute just yet, though. Otherwise, though, we do have a little bit of a break in the clouds, but some moving in from the west to the east. Slight chance for a few rain showers will be possible later on today, though, so don't be surprised if we do notice a few raindrops, but better chances will exist later on tonight. We have a couple of fronts that are moving in, one off toward the west, tracking off towards the east today, though, and another one off toward the north. And this one's really going to change our lives in a big hurry with cooler temperatures and maybe a few snowflakes that'll try to sneak in. But temperatures right now, though, are in the 40s, even a few 30s out there. Look at this, 38 degrees over in the Merrill area, but other areas starting off in the 40s. So not terrible out there this morning. So, but still jacket weather this morning as you get the kids off to school. Partly cloudy, temperatures in the lower 40s. But as the kids do come home, not bad, upper 60s under a mostly cloudy sky. Maybe the slight chance for a few rain showers.
Thank you, Devin. As home heating costs go up, one utility company could raise its rates even more as it works towards clean energy. We Energies and the Wisconsin Public Service submitted a petition in April asking to raise their prices by 5%. That's about $6 more a month for customers. Their goal is to use the extra money to shift toward cheaper, cleaner energy sources. We Energies says clean energy will save customers millions of dollars in the long run. We Energies has not been approved to raise their prices yet. That decision is expected to be made by the end of November or early December. The YMCA is celebrating Active Aging Week, which happens during the first week of October. This week highlights seniors in the area and hoping that they remain active as they age. Active Older Adult Coordinator Marilyn Duschel says that this opportunity is wonderful for the seniors.
So it gives them the opportunity to see what's here at the YMCA that we offer for seniors, which is actually quite a lot.
Anyone over the age of 55 can work out for free this week, giving them the chance to participate in all activities that the Y has to offer. The week guest pass will give any seniors the opportunity to work out at the Y, swim, and participate in senior exercise classes and programs.
Like all of those special weeks that they do, I think it's just an opportunity to really highlight programs that are really already going on, but encouraging people to participate in them.
Active Aging Week ends on October 8th, and for more information about it, you can visit ymcaofthenorthwoods.org. Right, it is 5:35, and coming up, we have some news you can use, including the new ways you can buy some clothes and other things from Goodwill. Plus, changes are coming to older iPads. We'll tell you how this could affect you. Those stories and more consumer news after this.
Hey, here's a fun fact. 3 out of 4 members of Congress were already professional politicians before they even got to D.C. And then they cash in and become lobbyists. It ain't me. I'm Derek Van Orden, a retired Navy SEAL with 26 years of service. And I will pass term limits and ban congressmen from ever becoming lobbyists. I'm Derek Van Orden, and I approve this message. Let's try something different. Let's change the people we send to D.C.
Come to Carpet City Flooring Center's biggest sale and get the best for free. Through Saturday, get free installation on our best-selling carpet, free estimates, and interest-free financing. That's right. Free carpet installation, free estimates, and interest-free financing. Only at Carpet City Flooring Center. Come see why contractors and designers choose Carpet City Flooring Center for their flooring needs. And get the best for free.
Carpet City, our prices will floor you.
Broken wire cuts or gums. Emergency trips are zero fun. This could be a sign to get Invisalign. Invis is trauma-free. The #1 doctor recommended clear aligner brand. Invisalign.
Whether someone is across the neighborhood, across the street, or across the room, you have the power to make them feel right at home. Ritz, a taste of welcome.
Okay, are we gonna flip? There we go.
At American Family Insurance, we're here to carefully protect your dreams.
All right, open your eyes. Welcome home.
All right, we'll see you later. Save up to 23% when you bundle your home and auto insurance today. Get a quote or find an agent at amfam.com.
American Family Insurance.
Welcome back as we start things off this morning. Still dark out there. Not much people making that morning commute just yet over in Rhinelander, but overall things looking pretty good out there at this point. However, we do have some clouds moving in from the west, going toward the east, and rain showers located right about in here. Those are also tracking off towards the east. So what does that mean? That will equal a few rain showers, a slight chance for rain showers possible later today. Those clouds begin to move in. We have a couple systems we have our eye on. One's on toward the west. We're now located right about in here, moving on towards the east. And we have this one right here. That'll be moving in from the north, going toward the south. And now it's going to change our lives in a hurry tomorrow. with cooler temperatures, rain, maybe a little bit of snow that could try to mix in too before we're all finished up. And I will stress no accumulations with that snow, won't be very heavy. And of course, the ground is still way too warm as well. But temperatures right now are in the 40s out there right now. Some areas cooler than others, lower 40s over in Land Lakes. We're in the upper 30s in Merrill, but other areas though in the middle to upper 40s, close to 50 degrees over in the Rhinelander area this morning. We have temperatures that have been pretty nice over the past several days though. Notice we've been cooler than average for a decent stretch, but then we started warming things up on September 30th and really stayed warm over the past few days though. So really enjoy these warm days because today really kind of the last day before things really begin to change. Our average high is 60 degrees. We'll make it into the upper 60s. Some of you could touch the lower 70s today. Before we do this Thursday and Friday, and that high on Thursday will be hit earlier in the day before we fall back down into the 40s and 30s throughout the day as well. The middle 40s for your Friday. Then the warm-up kicks back in. We're back in the 50s and close to the 60s through the weekend and even into parts of next week as well. Fall foliage really in full view right now. It's beautiful out there in many areas. Getting close to near peak. We have 3 counties that are at peak at this point, so definitely get outside and really enjoy that fall foliage. We've received plenty of pictures of the beautiful trees, so thank you for sending those in. And definitely get outside and enjoy those leaves before they begin to blow away. But we typically peak about this time of the year, early October. Here it is, though. We've been hitting that, so for those of you that are enjoying it in the Northwoods, you have to head into southern Wisconsin later on this month to really enjoy more of that fall foliage after the leaves blow away up here. But otherwise, though, futurecast for today will become mostly cloudy with a slight chance for a few showers this afternoon. Better chances for showers arrive later on tonight. And we'll keep that rolling again for the daytime tomorrow as another front moves in and things really begin to cool off. And then by tomorrow night, some of this could come off of Lake Superior, too. That slight chance for some rain and a few snow showers as well. Again, no accumulations in the snow department. The ground is still way too warm to support that, and it will not be very heavy at all. Mostly cloudy today, a slight chance for a few afternoon showers. Highs in the upper 60s to lower 70s. Southwest wind getting up to around 15 miles per hour. Later on tonight, cloudy with rain showers. Lows in the upper 40s. The northwest wind getting up to about 5 miles per hour. And that Northwoods Furniture and Mattress 7-day forecast. Thursday, it gets rainy. We have chances for rain and falling temperatures, eventually falling to 28 degrees Thursday night. Friday, we only warm up into the middle 40s with a partly cloudy sky. Then the weekend, we look good with temperatures in the middle to upper 50s. Then we'll be in the upper 50s Monday and lower 60s Tuesday with a chance for a few rain showers again.
America's debt has now surpassed $31 trillion. New data from the Treasury Department shows the government went on a borrowing spree during the COVID-19 pandemic to keep the U.S. economy moving. Since 2020, outstanding debt climbed $8 trillion, and in just 8 months, it jumped $1 trillion. U.S. economists say this could indicate a problem for the future. Last month, the Committee for a Responsible Fiscal Budget estimated President Joe Biden's policies could add $4.8 trillion to the deficit between 2021 and 2031. On Tuesday, nationwide secondhand chain Goodwill announced its online re-commerce site, GoodwillFinds.com. Goodwill has been around for 120 years, but with about 3,300 stores in the U.S. and Canada, the new website is essentially the organization's first centralized online presence. Goodwill says shoppers can browse a curated selection of hundreds of thousands of items. That includes secondhand women's, kids, and men's clothing, books, specialty and collector's items, and home decor. Anyone in the world can shop on GoodwillFinds.com, but net proceeds from purchases go back to the region in the item that was sourced from. The goal is to fund community-based programs across the U.S. And if you've got an older iPad, you better keep your existing cell plan for it or stay near Wi-Fi. Apple is no longer activating its proprietary Apple SIM card for new cell service. For iPads less than 4 years old, it makes no difference. Those models are equipped with eSIMs, which are embedded directly into the devices. Mobile carriers can still activate those, and if you do find yourself with an old iPad that needs new cell service, contact your carrier directly. Some of them may be able to use their own SIM cards to activate older iPads. Driving from Sarasota down to Fort Myers, you'll find the National Guard running lines at the gas station that are open and still have fuel. It's one of the biggest needs in Southwest Florida right now. Tassie almost found one company bringing the gas pump straight to people's homes for free.
In Cape Coral, several streets are calm and quiet, except for the gentle rumble of generators.
The only way we can keep our freezer and refrigerators going is with a generator. We're just patiently waiting for power.
But to keep them going, residents need one thing.
Filling up gas for my generators. This is the 4th gas station I've been trying to find that actually has gas.
The gas is the biggest problem right now with people and ice.
That's why Easy Fill is driving in with gas from Miami, filling people up for free.
When a hurricane comes, and aftermath is that gas is typically one of the things, gas or fuel are one of the shortages that people have. So we're trying to bridge that gap between what's short here for the residents in these areas and what we have on our sites.
It's basically Uber, but for gas. Using a smartphone app, customers can order gas to be delivered to them. But when I found them filling up tanks on the streets in Cape Coral, they looked more like first responders. Did you ever think that you would be disaster relief?
Never in the beginning, really not. Until the Hurricane Irma hit Florida, but I'm based out of Miami, and we were much smaller back then. We took the opportunity to play a smaller part in the emergency response or relief.
Some elderly residents don't have cans to even get gas for their generators, and those whose homes are okay have been driving around trying to help friends and family.
I just happened to go home, and I was like, wow, these guys are great.
This is everything we've all worked our whole life for, and it's gone in a flash. So, yeah, it's bad.
Coming up at 6:30, Hurricane Ian's aftermath has left a pit of destruction and devastated Floridians. Hear from some of those who were impacted by Ian's landfall. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Mandela Barnes is spreading a lot more than just peanut butter. Barnes didn't pay thousands in property taxes on his Milwaukee condo, bought with family money. While not paying property taxes, Barnes bought a second condo, went to Vegas, even sat courtside for a Bucks game. Asked about his unpaid taxes, Barnes said,
It's Juneteenth. Yo, hey, it's Juneteenth. They want to talk about property.
Now Barnes wants to talk about peanut butter. Senate Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Why hide your skin? If Dupixent has your moderate to severe eczema or atopic dermatitis under control.
Hide my skin? Not me.
By hitting eczema where it counts, Dupixent helps heal your skin from within, keeping you one step ahead of eczema.
Hide my skin? Not me.
And that means long-lasting, clearer skin and fast itch relief for adults. With Dupixent, you can show more skin with less eczema.
Hide my skin? Not me.
Serious allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems such as eye pain or vision changes, including blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines without talking to your doctor. When you help heal your skin from within, you can change how your skin looks and feels. And that's the kind of change you notice. Talk to your eczema specialist about Dupixent, a breakthrough eczema treatment.
Stone Innovations, home of Wisconsin's largest granite and quartz selection, is now featuring the best stones shopping experience in the state. Our brand new indoor facility allows for a home-like, comfortable atmosphere. Choose from hand-picked stone from around the world and select the perfect look for your dream kitchen in the best lighting possible. Then sit down with our free design services to customize the look of your kitchen. Our projects come with a lifetime warranty. Stone Innovations, Wisconsin's granite and quartz leader. Appleton, Rhinelander, Clover, Madison.
If you're a contractor or do-it-yourselfer, make Argonne Lumber your first stop. High-quality materials, personalized service, expert staff, and delivery are just some of the things Argonne Lumber is known for. Stop in and smell the lumber at Argonne Lumber, 2 locations in Argonne and Rhinelander.
Moondeer and Friends Gallery in downtown Boulder Junction offers an eclectic mix of contemporary fine art and craft, antiques, professional custom frame service, and many other smaller gift items, featuring the work of gallery owner Sarah Mender, as well as over 150 other regional artists.
Welcome back. For the second year in a row, a teenager in Virginia is leading a Halloween-themed effort to feed those in need in his community. It's called Mummies for Mouths. Caroline Petrikis reports.
Students at Madison High School are taking repurposed glass jars and a little tape and eyes.
Be messy. Take your piece of tape, tear them in half.
They're making mummies made out of repurposed glass jars that Jude Adler, the 16-year-old student, has been collecting since last year.
This craft is super simple, but it's helping so many families.
It's the second year in a row Jude is organizing Mummies for Mouths, a project he started last year.
Well, we've always been incredibly close with Vienna, and in a way, they're kind of giving back to us when we give back to them.
The mummy decorations are sold, and the profits feed those in need throughout the community.
And we saw all the meals being distributed to everybody who needed it. And now I just feel like we are kicking back better than ever, because if we can do that, then we could do it 3 times that, 4 times that, 1,000,000 times over again, just to try and help everybody.
Last year, he donated $6,000 to feed those in need. This year, he says he's going to double it.
Yes, it's a large goal, but, we've already made over 200 mummies. We've already almost hit $3,000 raised.
Jude is now applying to make Mummies for Mouths a nonprofit.
Well, that is just fantastic. It's always great to find ways to kind of give back during the holiday season, even when it's during Halloween. And I gotta say, those mummies are so cute. I'm a sucker for anything Halloween, so I might just buy all of them, because then, you get a cute little mummy, and it's for a good cause. You have Devin on the weather deck. And Devin, could you control yourself in just buying all those cute little mummies?
I don't know about that one, though. I gotta save my money right now as it is. So, well, otherwise, Halloween, a fun time of year now. Thankfully, nothing's out here to really startle me at this point, though, except Buck Zero that's behind me here. He's just chilling right here, enjoying the very nice weather that is out here this morning, as well as our new weather deck flowers and pumpkins that are out here this morning as well. So temperatures right now are in the 30s and 40s, so feeling like fall out here, too. 38 degrees in Merrill, middle 40s in Wausau, lower 40s in Wisconsin Rapids. Radar and satellite, we're just seeing a few clouds for now, though, but notice some rain off toward the west. That's one front that's going to be passing throughout the day, giving us a slight chance for rain showers. Another front to the north, you can see the rain developing up there, and that's going to be giving us chances for showers and a big cool down coming up tomorrow. Travel forecast today, lower 70s, so make sure clouds and sun across the western parts of the state. For us, though, we'll be in the upper 60s to lower 70s, a slight chance for a few rain showers, otherwise mostly cloudy. While farther down toward the south, not too bad, though. We'll see temperatures in the 60s and 70s and a mixture of clouds and sun. A little more coming up after the break.
Are you ready for something new? The Barber's Family Hairstyling will give you a look that will make you feel like a star. Find products you'll love this month at the Barber's Family Hairstyling during our buy one, get one half off sale on all Leader professional products.
Dear Exit Strategy, all your pieces are in place. A tranquil lake, a serene sky, an emerald forest, a secret hideout. Thanks for being there just when I need you most. Always Toyota SUVs.
Get 2.49% APR for 48 months on a new Toyota Corolla, Camry, RAV4, Highlander, or Tacoma. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Violent crime up across Wisconsin. Families nervous about their safety. Yet Mandela Barnes called for releasing half of Wisconsin's jailed inmates. That would mean releasing over 10,000 criminals right into our neighborhoods. 10,000 reasons your family would be in more danger. Barnes also supported defunding the police. 10,000 more criminals with fewer police to protect us. What could go wrong? Wisconsin Truth Bank is responsible for the content of this advertising.
It's the final days of Antigo's Lakeland Furniture. October 9th is the final day. After 35 years of business, Lakeland Furniture in Antigo is closing its doors. Save now while the selection is best. Save on quality furniture for every room in your home. Make us an offer. No reasonable offer will be refused during Lakeland Furniture and Mattress in Antigo's final days. Reclining sofas, sectionals, recliners, bedroom and dining sets. Free financing available and all credit levels welcome. Hurry in. Final day, October 9th.
Love your career. Cost Cutters will support you in achieving your career goals. With competitive wages, great benefits, and up to a $2,250 sign-on bonus. Stop in or visit costcutters.com to find your nearest location.
You're watching Newswatch 12 today with Jackie Smith and Devin Biggs.
As the seasons are changing, we have received some great photos from our viewers showing off the beautiful fall colors. These photos were sent to us by Greg Bonham, and pictures were also sent in by Myrtle Sharka, who got some great shots at Marble Lake. As you can see, the lakes are starting to look a little more colorful these days. And if you have any pictures that you would like to share, you can send them to us through our website or at WJFW.com. You can message them through our Facebook page. You can also email them to us at email@WJFW.com or the weather photos email at weatherphoto@WJFW.com. But look at these pictures here.
Absolutely
it's just amazing.
Stunning.
I know. It's a beautiful fall scenery this year. And I think the timing worked out where the leaves were turning and the temperatures kind of supported. We've had some moisture, just enough. And then, of course, some cooler nights, though, and freezing nights, too. And I think that's helped to really bring the colors out. I'm not an expert when it comes to trees turning, so that's my hypothesis there. But it kind of makes sense because the trees started to turn even before it got cool. So that it could tell the sun's becoming less and less. That part we do know.
Right.
And, of course, the temperatures can kind of affect some of the science within the leaves, too. So really beautiful to really see what these leaves have to offer.
Yeah, see, I don't know the science. I just like looking at them. I think they're pretty. They're absolutely stunning. It's almost like therapeutic just driving by and just seeing the ombre of colors. Like, it's stunning. That's one of the reasons I love fall so much.
Yeah, I think Jeff and Theo went for a walk on Hanson Lake the other day, which is not far away from the driver's facility here in town. And boy, that definitely gets beautiful this time of the year, too. I'm going to hike that again soon. I went on a walk through town last night, and the leaves, wow. You just can't stop looking at it. We are lucky to live in a place up here that can give us some really cool therapeutic scenery. And I mean, we're lucky. This is tourist country up here, and we are lucky that we get to live and enjoy it, or maybe not enjoy it if you're not a big fan of the cool temperatures. I got my eye on you now.
Hey, I can handle the cool temperatures. Not a fan of them, but if it means I get the fall leaves, you got to win some, you lose some. So I will take the cold temperatures if it means I get to see these leaves.
For sure. Yeah, we do have a map for you here. I think I got it pulled up here. Let's take a look at things. I don't yet, so we'll hit this one button here, and there it is. So here we are. I know, magic, right? But yeah, we are near peak for some of us, though, and across the Northwoods. I know we got some questions about Vilas County because it was only being reported at half peak, but that was the courtesy of Travel Wisconsin. But the latest update showing it now near peak, and definitely some beautiful fall foliage here in the Northwoods. Notice not as much down south yet, so it's going to be kind of moving from that north to south general idea. Of course, as we continue to lose the sun, and of course we start seeing the temperatures fall too. But right now, though, we are seeing some clouds moving through, along with a few rain showers that are developing this morning. We'll zoom this map out. There's a couple systems, one off toward the west in Minnesota and Iowa. That'll give us a slight chance for a few rain showers. Off toward the north, another front. This one's going to change our lives in a big hurry with a sharp cool down, and it really kicks in tomorrow. A slight chance for rain today, temperatures in the upper 60s to lower 70s. Rain showers Thursday, that early high temperature in the lower 50s, but then really cooling off into the 40s and even 30s throughout the day. Thursday night, some leftover rain showers. Rain showers also developing Thursday night with some of the leftover stuff. And then some that could possibly switch over to a few snow showers, too, because I know temperatures getting cool. Some coming off the lake, too. And then Friday, partly cloudy, temperatures in the mid-40s. A little more coming up after the break.
When it happened, he was the boss.
These allegations span over 2 decades.
Women at Tim Michaels' company say they were pressured to have sex with their supervisors.
If she refused demands for sex, she would be blackballed from working on a pipeline.
And sexually harassed.
The female worker was given a sex toy and pornographic images for her birthday.
If this is how Tim Michaels runs his business, how do you think he'd run the state? Tim Michaels' agenda is radically wrong.
Ghirardelli Caramel Squares makes life a bite better.
It's nice to unwind after a long week of telling people how Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. He's a natural. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Looking to add warmth to your home with a new gas, wood, pellet, or electric unit? Look no further than Trapper's Fireplace Gallery in Eagle River, carrying the best selection from Heat and Glow, Quadrifire, Simplifier, and Vermont castings. From complete installs to service to maintenance, we have you covered. From the Dahlquist family you've trusted for over 50 years,
Visit their showroom, Trapper's Fireplace Gallery in downtown Eagle River. Welcome to the family.
Ron Johnson and China. Here's how it works. While in the Senate, Johnson made $57 million from a family business whose growth was directly linked to China. He invested in Chinese factories, and Johnson's family business got $50 million in loans from the Bank of China. Johnson pushed for shipping American jobs overseas while he got rich. Ron Johnson's out for himself, not us. S&P is responsible for the content of this ad.
Let's go, let's go!
Obviously, you don't trust me.
I can't have it turning into the Wild West. Not like the way that this looks. My name, my name!
One bad act doesn't make you a bad person. I'm here to tell the truth.
Winter's coming. Fight back against rust and protect your investment with Rust Solutions underbody rust proofing for vehicles, trailers, and dump trucks. Call to make your appointment today.
Right now on Newswatch 12 today, fans of the outdoors may look forward to hearing about a trail expansion in Boulder Junction. Plus,
all right, we're dry for now, but clouds are moving in from the west to the east and also some rain showers. Your full forecast is coming up.
And Science on Tap is returning in Minocqua. We'll tell you about the topic that's starting this series off. It's Wednesday, October 5th.
Your local news and weather from where you live. Newswatch 12 Today starts now.
Good morning and thank you for waking up with us. I'm Jackie Smith. A great way to enjoy the fall colors is busting out the bicycle this season. Boulder Junction is looking to expand the paved trail system for folks looking to enjoy the outdoors. Newswatch 12's Michael Lotholz has the story.
There was a group of us that live along H that we should get together and see what we could do.
Vilas County is home to miles and miles of paved bike trails and is expanding yet again thanks to people like Barb Konopacki and Sherry Sanderson.
Highway H is a totally different story. That is way too dangerous to be a road route. People do it right now because they're wanting to get into town and get on the heart of Vilas from the campgrounds or from their cabins or their houses. This trail is going to get them off that dangerous road.
The new trail section will have several different terrains under tire.
There'll be some boardwalks, some retaining walls. It should be an 8-foot wide trail. And I hope we see as many riders out there, if not more, than what we've been seeing, but they're off the road.
The finished trail will help connect an even larger area to a brand new paved loop.
When we get this 3.3 miles paved, it will connect to North Creek Road, and that will make a 14-mile loop into downtown Boulder.
Bicycling is a great way to boost the local economy and also keep active.
Come here on a summer weekend and you've got little itty bitties all the way up to grandma and grandpa enjoying the trails together.
The whole family can enjoy a fun time of safety and sights on the trail system.
The reason that they come here is because there are so many continuous miles of paved trails that they can make sometimes an entire week of a vacation doing certain segments at a time.
People can still donate to the project at northcreeklooptrail.com and support moving the project along.
We're hoping that sometime in October yet we're going to see equipment out here working right along this part of H.
In Boulder Junction, Michael Lotholz, Newswatch 12.
Well, for any bikers that do want to get out on the trails, today might be the last day you go without having to layer up because starting tomorrow, it's going to get a little chilly. We have Devin in the Weather Center to give us a little more about what those temperatures are supposed to look like. Devin?
Yeah, so it's really going to be cooling off tomorrow, though our high temperature will be hit early in the day in the lower 50s and really cooling off after into the 40s and 30s. But for now, it's going to be nice out there today, although it's dark for now as the sun hasn't come up just yet. We have a few clouds passing through, not much going on with regards to downtown at this point, not much wind going on either at this point, but here we are. We have clouds right about in here and off toward the west, a few rain showers down toward the south as well. This is going to be our system passing through today with a slight chance for a few rain showers, but further off towards the north, though, another frontal system located right about in here. and it's going to be giving us a better chance for rain showers as we head towards tomorrow. And a cool down as well. We'll go from the 50s down to the 40s, 30s, and even a few 20s out there before we're all finished up. But for now, it doesn't feel bad out there. We're in the 40s in a few areas, lower 40s in Eagle River and Land O'Lakes. Some upper 30s to lower 40s being noted over in parts of Lincoln County. But your forecast for today, get outside and enjoy the last really nice day with the temperatures. Upper 60s, lower 70s, slight chance for afternoon showers. Otherwise, will become mostly cloudy.
Thank you, Devin. Science on Tap returns to Minocqua today. The topic of the talk will be science, the driving force behind wildlife conservation. Scott Craven, a wildlife extension specialist with UW-Madison, will talk about the importance of using science to guide conservation efforts. Craven has worked with UW Extension for more than 40 years. He has spent much of that time educating the public about how to manage wildlife, whether that's mitigating problems with nuisance animals or protecting endangered species. Craven is Science on Tap's first speaker of the season. His talk begins at 6:30 on Wednesday, October 5th at Oak Fire Pizza in Minocqua. And if you have a furry companion at home, you already know they're a part of your family, and you want them to be around for as many years as possible. That's why October is National Pet Wellness Month, to promote the importance of pet health and wellness all year long. Dogs and cats age 5 to 7 times faster than people. That means an annual visit to the veterinarian is like us seeing a doctor every 5 to 7 years. It's important for dogs and cats to get wellness exams at least once a year. So let this serve as a reminder to make sure your pet is up to date on all their checkups and vaccinations. And if you want to go the extra mile, you could even donate to an animal welfare organization or volunteer a few hours at a rescue or pet clinic. The time is 6:05, and up next on Newswatch 12 today, we're honoring the life of Loretta Lynn. After the break, see inside the life of the late beloved country star. Stay with us.
This is how it feels to do more with less asthma, thanks to Dupixent. Dupixent is not for sudden breathing problems. It's an add-on treatment for specific types of moderate to severe asthma and can help improve lung function for better breathing in as little as 2 weeks. Dupixent helps prevent asthma attacks and can even reduce or eliminate oral steroids. Imagine that. Dupixent can cause allergic reactions that can be severe. Get help right away if you have rash, chest pain, worsening shortness of breath, tingling, or numbness in your limbs. Tell your doctor about new or worsening joint aches and pain or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines, including steroids, without talking to your doctor. Who knows what you can do when you do more with less asthma? Ask your asthma specialist about Dupixent.
Enjoy the serenity of northern Wisconsin all year long. First stop, Chiquagaman Adventure Company. Skis, skates, snowshoes, and fat bikes. Kayaks, canoes, and paddle boards. Chiquagaman Adventure Company. Stop by the store or visit us online.
Woodruff Appliance and TV is a family-owned discount appliances, furniture, mattresses, and electronics store. Find top models of GE brands at the best prices around. Woodruff Appliance and TV, 2 convenient locations in Woodruff and Tomahawk since 1939.
Look at this beautiful kitchen transformation we did in Kimberly. Terry and Kelly contacted our kitchen tune-up team to make their kitchen dream come true. We not only elevated the look of their cabinetry, but we also added storage and functionality.
The kitchen tune-up team was excellent. We were amazed at the attention to detail and their communication.
We would highly recommend them.
We offer a variety of services to freshen up your space. For amazing results, call Kitchen Tune-Up today.
And welcome back as we start things off this morning. Still dark over and around there. That sun will be coming up very soon. A little bit of a breeze going through downtown, but not much going on. At this point, though, we have some clouds tracking in from the west going toward the east and also toward the north as well. This is one front that we have our eye on. But the one that's going to be moving in today is off toward the west right now. Tracking off towards the east, I'll give us clouds and a slight chance for a few rain showers later today, though. But as we do zoom things out again, that's just one system. Here's the other one right about in here. It's going to be tracking down toward the south, and that one's going to change our lives tomorrow with temperatures that'll be cooling off with rain showers and a few snow showers that could sneak in here Thursday night as temperatures fall. and the precipitation will be slow to clear out of here, so that's why we're wondering that a few snow flurries and snow showers could try to mix in before all this backs off. But temperatures right now, though, are in the 40s across the viewing area, even a few 30s, 39 degrees in Mantuish Waters, 38 degrees in the Merrill area, other areas in the 40s. You can tell where there are clouds in other areas where there are not any clouds at this point. We've had a warm stretch recently, though. We were cool for a while in parts of September, then October showed up, and we warmed up into the 60s and even a few 70s out there. If you love the warmer temperatures, unfortunately some bad news. We're going to really be cooling off. Our average high is 60 degrees. We'll be in the upper 60s to the lower 70s today. But then by Thursday, lower 50s for the high, and that high temperature will be hit early in the day before we cool off into the 40s and 30s throughout the rest of the day on Thursday. The middle 40s only for the high on Friday. The warming back up in the 50s and 60s Saturday through Tuesday of next week. But your fall foliage map, we're really getting close to peak across this part of the Northwoods. So a few areas are already at peak being reported in those red counties there. So if you're in the Northwoods, definitely enjoy it now, because before you know it, the leaves will blow away and you'll then have to travel further south to enjoy some of that fall foliage. Otherwise, so futurecast moving forward, though, we will be mostly cloudy with a slight chance for rain showers today. Better chances develop later on tonight. But as that other front moves through, we'll not only get more rain showers, we'll get some gusty winds blowing some of those leaves away. And of course, it's just going to be really cooler with temperatures that will be falling to the 40s and 30s throughout the day. But of course, as that front passes through, we might get some precipitation off of Lake Superior. That'll give us a few rain showers and possibly mixing in with a few snow showers as well. Temperatures will be falling eventually in the upper 20s under a part of the cloudy sky. Otherwise, how much precipitation could we possibly see? Not a whole lot, though, as we run this through all the way through parts of Thursday night. Some areas could see up to 1/4 of an inch before we're all finished up there. So it'll be very hit and miss overall, but everyone should see something before this begins to back off. So your forecast for today, mostly cloudy with a slight chance for rain showers. Highs in the upper 60s to lower 70s. The southwest breeze getting up to around 15 miles per hour. Later on tonight, cloudy with rain showers. Lows in the upper 40s. The northwest breeze getting up to about 5 miles per hour. And the Northwoods Furniture and Mattress 7-day forecast. There is the rain on Thursday as temperatures really begin to cool off. By Friday, middle 40s under a partly cloudy sky. Just really cool, though. The warming up through the weekend under a partly cloudy sky. The more rain showers Monday into Tuesday.
Thank you, Devin. The queen of country music, Loretta Lynn, has died. Best known for her autobiographical hit song, Coal Miner's Daughter, Lynn died Tuesday in her Tennessee home, according to a statement from her family. Stephanie Elam reports.
Loretta Lynn's rags to riches story is well known. A coal miner's daughter who became the queen of country music. She was the second of Clara and Melvin Webb's 8 children. Born in Butcher Hollow, part of the Appalachia Hill country in Kentucky. Her life during the Great Depression didn't offer many advantages. She grew up without electricity, indoor plumbing, and only completed the 8th grade. As a young teen, she married Oliver Vanetta Lynn, whom she called by the nickname Do or Doolittle. He was 21. A decade later, Loretta Lynn was a mother of 4, playing guitar and writing songs at home. With her husband's encouragement, she entered a talent competition and was spotted by a record producer. Her first song, Honky Tonk Girl, was a minor hit, and the Lynn family moved to Nashville. Her marriage had its share of troubles, many of which spilled over into her songs. You ain't woman enough to take my man. Lynn said her husband had problems with alcohol and her long absences on the road. They went on to have a total of 6 kids, but family life was not always harmonious. Touring took a toll on her health. She battled chronic illnesses and exhaustion. Her best-selling autobiography chronicled her hardships, heartaches, and rise to stardom.
I can't sing in front of people. I just can't.
Sissy Spacek won an Oscar playing her on the screen.
Well, I was born to coal miner's daughter.
In 2004, Lynn would make a huge comeback, recording the highly acclaimed album Van Leer Rose, produced by Jack White. She would be nominated for 5 Grammys for the album, winning 2, including Best Country Album. Lynn brought a strong female point of view to country music and was seen as a homespun advocate for ordinary women.
Well, they say that I'm too country, the way I look and sound.
Her career spanned half a century, generating dozens of #1 songs. From humble beginnings to country music royalty, Lynn never dreamed of being such a success.
I don't think you can dream for success, because I think it's more or less
You have to work for it.
Her hard work paid off with a lifetime of awards, including the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2013. And as for inspiring future performers, she said they needed to be one of three things.
Great, different, or first. And I just happened to be different because I started writing my own songs and didn't really realize that the things that I was writing about, nobody wanted to talk about them. They were just doing them, you know?
Coming up, we have What's Trending, including a popular menu item is being brought back to Culver's for a limited time. Plus, scientists may not know the meaning of life, but a new study suggests that they could be closer to finding how life on Earth began. Stay with us.
I built a tree fort in our yard. If I had $1 million, you could help, it wouldn't be that hard. If I
Stay on top of breaking news and the biggest stories of the day with NBC News Daily. Get in-depth reporting from across the country and around the world. Tips to take care of your health and your wallet. And up-to-the-minute local news. NBC News Daily. Weekdays on NBC.
Welcome to Patchouli Garden in Park Falls. We love authentic Indonesian patchouli and we specialize in our original custom blends. Everything with the Patchouli Garden name on it we make right here in our store. Visit Patchouli Garden in the store or online.
I'm Jonathan Lawson, here to tell you about life insurance through the Colonial Penn program. If you're age 50 to 85 and looking to buy life insurance on a fixed budget, remember the 3 Ps.
The 3 what?
The 3 Ps.
What are the 3 Ps?
The 3 Ps of life insurance on a fixed budget are price, price, and price. A price you can afford, a price that can't increase, and a price that fits your budget.
I'm 54 and was a smoker, but quit. What's my price?
You can get coverage for $9.95 a month.
I'm 65, retired, and take medications. What's my price?
Also $9.95 a month.
I just turned 80 and I'm on a fixed income. What's my price?
$9.95 a month for you too. If you're age 50 to 85, call now about the #1 most popular whole life insurance plan available through the Colonial Penn program. It has an affordable rate starting at $9.95 a month. That's less than 35 cents a day. You cannot be turned down because of your health. No medical exam, no health questions. Your acceptance is guaranteed. And this plan has a guaranteed lifetime rate lock, so your rate can never go up for any reason. Options start at $9.95 a month. Plus, you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So call now for free information, and you'll also get this free beneficiary planner. Use this valuable guide to record your important information and give helpful direction to your loved ones with your final wishes. And it's yours free, just for calling. So call now for free information.
Call 1-800-554-4300 for your free information and your free gift. That's 1-800-554-4300. 1-800-554-4300. That's 1-800-554-4300. So call now.
Welcome back. It's 6:16, and it's time for What's Trending. You know, I've been kind of hungry all show. No one's probably been able to hear it, but my stomach's been rumbling. The story's not going to make it better.
There, I just imitated it for you.
Just in time for National Cheese Curd Day, which is October 15th, Culver's announced that the popular Curder Burger will be back for a limited time. The Curder Burger will be available starting on Wednesday, October 12th through Halloween. The Curder Burger is a standard deluxe butter burger with a single giant cheese curd right on top of the patty. Culver started the Curder Burger as an April Fool's joke on social media, never expecting it to actually make the menu, but then people signed a petition to make that joke into a reality.
And if I remember right, it sold out fast.
I could see why.
It was a big hit. I don't think I'm trying to remember. I don't think I ever had one because they sold out.
Now's your chance. I'm going to get one. I'm going to be first in line.
I know, but I got to definitely put that reminder in. Well, we got phones now these days, so I definitely have to put a reminder in my phone.
Set an alarm the second we get out of here at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. Go to Culver's Curder Burger Day.
There's only one problem with that. Culver's doesn't open until 10 a.m.
First in line.
Are we really going to wait outside 2 hours for that?
I will do it.
You'll do it? I'm sure you'd wait outside any time for a Taylor Swift concert.
Exactly. I've waited outside for Taylor Swift before all night. I'll do it for a burger.
So all night? So what's the hours we're talking here for this?
It was 11 p.m. to when the record store opened.
And now is what time?
About 8 a.m.
Talk about dedication.
I am to the things I love. I'm dedicated.
And I know I'm dedicated for food too.
Exactly.
But there's a line I like to draw to. I kind of like just chilling. No, I don't know if I like staying in line for several hours.
When I'm hungry, I'm hungry.
I get it. You're hungry. You're hungry. I know, right? Good.
Hangry.
Good thing this desk is very strong, though. Or, yeah, hangry is a very good word, too. Let's keep things rolling here. Cruising the Coast, also known as America's biggest block party, is back in Biloxi, Mississippi, where it features more than 8,000 antique cars and classic hot rods. Look at that right there. While there are plenty of leisurely activities during this annual event, the autocross is one that'll surely rev up your heart rate. And while some cruisers like to sit back in a chair and watch the cars roll by, some look for the more thrilling moments in life. This year at Cruising the Coast, autocross is back for its 8th year at the Mississippi Coast Coliseum to bring guests the most thrilling minute of their lives. And anyone who wants to participate in the event is welcome for absolutely no charge, and registered car owners simply pull up and ride the course while guests without cars can get in line to ride with as a passenger with a professional driver through the Goodrich Share the Ride program. So that would be really cool, though.
Sounds very exciting.
I mean, some of those old cars can definitely when well maintained, can definitely keep things rolling to big hurry, just floor it and go.
That would be so exciting. I've only ever sat in some classic cars and hot rods. I've never driven in one before.
You might feel like you're a NASCAR after that.
I would love to feel like I'm in NASCAR. Just go fast. Just zoom. Pedal to the metal.
Go fast. I don't know how fast. Some of those cars I'm sure can go fast, but obviously when they're well maintained, they can definitely do a great job.
Especially it's free. Just get to go have your heart skip a beat for free.
I know, right? They may have to get shocked back into ring afterward, though.
Exactly. And speaking of getting shocked back to life, we're going to talk about how water helps kind of give some life.
Oh, I left my water back at the weather center.
Well, you got to go drink some after this, because there could be more to water than simply H2O. Scientists believe they have uncovered in water the secret ingredient for building life. Chemists with Purdue University shared their findings in a study published by the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences on Monday. They analyzed water and say that they have uncovered it in a mechanism for peptide-forming reactions. Peptides are the building blocks of proteins, which are the building blocks of life. That means those reactions discovered in water are essentially the chemistry behind the origin of life. No big deal. Scientists believe this could give some credit to the theory that life on Earth began in the oceans. They acknowledge that the chemistry remains a mystery, but say learning more about how water works could help in developing drugs to treat some of humanity's most debilitating diseases. I did not think just simple water could do that.
Yeah, I mean, we had some water right here. Is this yours?
No.
This might be someone from Nightside. This could be someone from last night.
No, you know what this is?
What?
The origin of life.
The origin of life right here, though, or someone's bottle of water that they left here on the set from last night.
It's more exciting to think of it as the origin of life.
I mean,
I did not expect that.
I mean, our bodies are composed of a lot of water too, as well as a lot of earth too. So for us, obviously, we need to breathe air, but drink water too to stay hydrated too. Because whenever you do a workout, play basketball, whatever, volleyball, I'm sure for you when you were younger too. I'm not sure. You still play volleyball now? Kind of. So there you go. You just drink that water to stay hydrated too.
Exactly. So this is just a reminder: drink water. Put down your coffee. Drink water.
Drink some water. Maybe not this particular bottle from someone who left it here from Nightside last night. But otherwise, yeah, definitely drink some water. Drink plenty of it every day, and it definitely will help things out. But otherwise, though, you might have some water falling from the sky, though. I've been waiting to say that all morning. But otherwise, let's get right into your weather recap right now, though. So overall, some areas could definitely use some water, though. The drought monitor not showing some good news across a good part of the country. We're in a little bit of a drought as well. You might have saw Michael Lodeholtz's story earlier this week about the lower water and lake levels, though. And any rainfall would definitely help things out. We're officially back in a drought over in parts of Oneida County, so any rainfall would definitely help things out. We have a little bit on the way from the west to the east, a slight chance for showers developing this morning. Otherwise, mostly cloudy for the rest of the day as well, with that slight chance for showers. A wider look, there's a couple fronts, one near Minnesota and Iowa, another one in parts of Canada and Minnesota. The one tomorrow is really going to change our lives in a hurry as temperatures fall into the 50s, 40s, and eventually 30s. A few of you could possibly do the 20s as well. Your next 3 days, already slight chance for rain today. Rain showers Thursday, early highs in the 50s, cooling off throughout the day. Thursday night, some of the leftover rain showers could possibly mix with a little bit of snow before it ends. And Friday, we're cool, but a partly cloudy sky. A little more coming up after the break.
Are you ready to win? Play the Halloween Bingo Bash Saturday, October 29th. $300 Witches Brew game. And all regular games pay $125. Costume contest with cash prizes. Check out the Halloween Bingo Bash Saturday, October 29th. Only at the Mole Lake Casino and Lodge.
We're paying more for food, gas, and rent. But Tony Evers wants to take even more of our money. He tried to raise the gas tax by 20% and double the tax on our heating bills. Evers wanted to use our tax dollars to pay people who refuse to work. And he wanted to give taxpayer-funded benefits to those who entered our country illegally. Evers even opposed drug testing for those getting welfare. We just can't afford 4 more years of Tony Evers.
You can always find great-looking furniture at incredible everyday low prices at Slumberland Furniture. Like these modern sectionals and sofas, starting as low as $3.99. And always free doorstep shipping. Get your look for less at Slumberland Furniture. Sore back but hate mattress shopping? Yes.
Totally dread it.
Totally. Come to Slumberland and see how we've made mattress shopping easy.
How easy is that?
So easy.
So easy.
Get your sleep solution at Slumberland Furniture.
Tim Michaels' company has been sued numerous times for sexual assault and harassment in the workplace. But he says
people love working at Michaels.
Women said they were groped, assaulted, and pressured to have sex with their bosses.
We have a great work culture.
Higher-ups called the women liars and fired those who spoke out. So when he says this,
we have a great work culture.
Know that the culture comes from the top.
Check out the tribute to the King, Elvis. Free show starring award-winning Elvis tribute artist Dakota Pongratz. Saturday, November 19th, 8 to midnight. Mole Lake Casino and Lodge, where everyone is treated like a king.
Welcome back to this week's edition of Why Watch, and today we're talking about the USPL Northwoods Showdown. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So we have our first annual USPL Northwoods Showdown here at the YMCA on Saturday, October 29th. We will have weigh-ins around 6:30 to about 9 a.m. With the competition starting at 9 a.m. We are open to 42 lifters, and we're almost full, so there might be a few spots remaining for that.
So what is this competition going to include?
Sure. So it will be a 1-platform, 3-flight meet. We will have the basic lifts of a deadlift, a bench, as well as a squat. And then everything, all the information will be at liftingcast.com. So a few open spots yet. Spectators are welcome. We have the 42 lifters, but we'll also welcome a lot of spectators here at the Y. We will have concessions, and it'll be a great day of lifting and competition.
All right, perfect. I know you kind of mentioned it, but where can people go for more information?
Sure. So for more information, you can always visit our website at ymcaofthenorthwoods.org. You can visit our Facebook page or call us here at the Y at 715-362-9622, or you can visit theliftingcast.com as well.
Alrighty, welcome back. Our Buck Zero here, and really myself really enjoying things this morning. Definitely very comfortable out here. For those that are wondering about the story of Buck Zero, I'll tell it again. This is the kind of a joke that Jeff and Dan Hagan have going, because Dan had some issues being able to get any deer last year when he went out hunting. So give Dan a little bit of grief there, but obviously in good humor. But otherwise, so let's get things rolling out here this morning. Temperatures in the 40s and 30s this morning. Overall looking very nice, even 50 degrees in Marshfield, so temperatures all over the place, where some areas are noticing some clouds, radar, and satellite. We have a little bit of clouds moving in this morning, moving from the west to the east, and a few rain showers to Minnesota and Iowa. Some of those will move in later on today in our neck of the woods. Another front off for the north there, where the rain is, could definitely change our lives for the daytime tomorrow with rain and cooler temperatures. For today, though, your travel forecast showing temperatures in the 70s across the western parts of the state, mostly partly cloudy and a few rain showers as well. For us, mostly cloudy, slight chance for a few rain showers as well. Temperatures in the 60s and 70s. While further down to the south, some 60s and 70s as well. I hear the music in my ears. Let's get right to the birthday club.
Your feet are stumping and the jam is pumping. Look ahead, the crowd is jumping. Pump it up a little more, get the party going on the dance floor. See, cause that's where the party's at, and you find out if you do that. I want a place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day. I want a place to stay. Get your booty on the floor tonight. Make
This portion of Newswatch 12 is brought to you by Builders Service Incorporated, Elko.
I've only got one good lung. I've got damage insides, and I still took it without question. And I encourage people to think of your 7 generations, to think of your grandkids, to think of your kids instead of yourself. That's what I like for people to think of.
Sue right, Jake middle, and on the left.
Yeah, I knew I'd win.
Are you saying
What's
something?
really happening over there?
I think you're on mute.
There's no substitute for real gaming fun. Go where fun lives. Old Chum Gaming Wittenberg.
Why hide your skin if Dupixent has your moderate to severe eczema or atopic dermatitis under control?
Hide my skin, not me.
Because Dupixent targets a root cause of eczema, it helps heal your skin from within, keeping you one step ahead of it.
Hide my skin, not me.
And for kids ages 6 months and up, that means clearer skin and noticeably less itch. With Dupixent, you can change how their skin looks and feels. And that's the kind of change you notice.
Hide my skin, not me.
Serious allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems such as eye pain or vision changes, including blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines without talking to your doctor. When you help heal your skin from within, you can show more with less eczema. Talk to your child's eczema specialist about Dupixent, a breakthrough eczema treatment.
I'm Tim Michaels, and I know a thing or two about construction. But sometimes, before you start building, you have to tear things down. That's why I'll come Beaver's job-killing agenda. Totally demolish the woke liberals' anti-police agenda. And hammer Madison's special interest. I'm Tim Michaels. I'm a businessman, not a politician. Tony Evers and his liberal friends have made an absolute mess of Wisconsin. We've got a blueprint to rebuild. But first, we need to do a little demolition.
There's certainly an opportunity for people to help not only local patients, but patients in other parts of the country.
Right now on Newswatch 12 today, a call for help and recovery efforts for Hurricane Ian is being made in Wisconsin. See what you can do to help those impacted. Plus,
clouds moving in from the west to the east this morning. Also a few rain showers. Your full forecast is coming up.
And we'll tell you a quick recap of last night's 7th District Congressional debate. It's Wednesday, October 5th.
Your local news and weather from where you live. Newswatch 12 today starts now.
Hurricane Ian devastated parts of southwestern Florida last week, leaving the area in dire need of support and resources like blood. Newswatch 12's Mohammed Abdul Qawi reports on how a local blood center is working to help hurricane victims.
There's certainly an opportunity for people to help not only local patients, but patients in other parts of the country.
Following Hurricane Ian's devastating aftermath to southwest Florida, the Community Blood Center is asking Wisconsinites to donate blood to help those in need.
It has impacted the blood supply and the ability of people to donate blood and supply blood to patients in that part of the country.
Vice President Operations and Chief Operating Officer Christine Bellinger says a shipment of blood was sent down to Florida last week because some blood centers lost everything.
They were all set to go earlier, but we had to wait for airlines and overland transportation to be safe. We are getting requests for blood pretty much on a daily basis from the impacted regions.
According to the American Red Cross, 21 million blood components are transfused each year in the United States alone.
For those patients that rely on a blood transfusion to fight a serious medical condition, it is life-saving.
Not everybody has the opportunity to save a life. However, Bellinger says donating just a pint of blood can save up to 3 lives.
I can guarantee people that if you donate today, by tomorrow your blood is on its way to helping a patient fight their serious medical condition.
Bellinger says while their top priorities are the hospitals and local patients around the area, if Southwest Florida needs any more blood donations, they're willing to send it. And taking a turn to weather, today is probably the last day we're going to feel some of those beautiful temperatures for a while because we're going to have a cool down tomorrow. We have Devin in the Weather Center. And Devin, can you tell us a bit more about this kind of last beautiful day we're having?
I know, right? So do we want to blame you or blame me for the cool down?
You're the weatherman.
Wow. Well, see, that's what everybody says, right?
Not me.
Well, you came from Washington State, so you're closer to the north.
Yeah, and it's like 80 degrees there right now. So.
Is it really?
It's like 78.
Is it 78 right now? Oh, my goodness. Well, otherwise, let's get back to what's going on here in Wisconsin right now. For those wondering, things are looking pretty decent out there this morning. Just a few clouds moving in. And, yeah, we'll just blame me for the cooler temperatures on the way, right, since we usually do anyway. But otherwise, so here we are. Some rain off toward the north and toward the west as well. And some clouds moving in as well. So any clearing that we saw earlier this morning, about to get obscured with clouds and a slight chance for a few rain showers again. And here we are, a couple systems to the north located right about in here in this system right here. This is today's system, and this is tomorrow's, and that's going to change our life in a big hurry, especially as we head towards tomorrow. Those temperatures right now, 30s and 40s across the viewing area. Looks like everyone except Merrill are back in the 40s with 38 degrees being noted in the Merrill area. Otherwise, though, your bus stop forecast, not too bad for today, though. Lower 40s under a partly cloudy skies to get the kids off to school. As they do come home, though, here we are, upper 60s, lower 70s with a mostly cloudy sky.
Thank you, Devin. We're learning the name of a man who was killed in a semi-crash. Authorities say 71-year-old Anthony Brock from Stevens Point was killed in Friday morning's crash. The Portage County Sheriff's Office says the accident happened on I-39 at the southbound 161-mile marker. Authorities say Brock was in an SUV traveling northbound in the southbound lanes and hit a southbound semi. The SUV caught fire and Brock died at the scene. The semi driver was a 54-year-old male from De Pere. He had non-life-threatening injuries and was treated at the Stevens Point Aspirus Hospital. A motorcycle was involved in a crash on Highway 47 and Bridge Road in McNaughton on Tuesday afternoon. The crash was reported just after 2 p.m. According to the scanner, the driver of the motorcycle was unresponsive at the scene, but they did have a pulse. Multiple units responded to the scene. The crash remains under investigation, but the road has reopened. And Stevens Point police are seeking your help in identifying a woman who stole a wallet at a Stevens Point Aldi on Monday. According to a Facebook post on the Stevens Point Police Department page, the woman stole the wallet from Aldi located on State 10 East. If you have any information about this crime or who the woman is or her whereabouts, please contact the Portage County Dispatch Center at 715-346-1501. And on Tuesday, Lakeland Union High School hosted a 7th District congressional debate. Republican Tom Tiffany and Democrat Dick Osmond discussed inflation January 6th and the state's worker shortage. The debate was organized by 4 high school juniors. Representative Tiffany talked about solving broad issues like the economic state of the country and also warned against domestic and international security concerns. He said he hoped to appeal to the hardworking students who put on the debate. Osmond expressed goals a little closer to home. He said he's for gun control, but stopped short of calling for bans. He said the income cap on contributing Social Security should be abolished and that people shouldn't go bankrupt because of medical bills. The newest judges in Vilas County are making history. In November of 2021, Judge Martha Milnowski took over the job of circuit court judge from former judge Neil Chip Nielsen. Last week, Judge Daniel Overbay became the 2nd circuit court judge in Vilas County. Both of these appointments are set new standards in Vilas County. Judge Milnowski is the first woman to take the bench in Vilas County, and Judge Overbay's judgeship makes it the first time Vilas County has ever had 2 presiding judges. Having 2 courtrooms and judges creates an opportunity to lighten the judges' individual caseloads and possibly even create specialty courts. And while mental health continues to get a spotlight across the state, suicide is still on the rise, especially in rural communities. The most recent Wisconsin Department of Health Services report on suicide prevention found Wisconsin's suicide rate leaped up to 40% from 2000 to 2017. Of those, rural men between the ages of 25 and 64 are among the most vulnerable to suicide. If you or a family member are struggling, the Wisconsin Farm Center also offers a 24/7 helpline, telecounseling, and in-person counseling vouchers. They also have an online farmer support group for people all across the state to connect with one another. Tuesday was the second day of the trial of alleged far-right militia Oath Keepers leaders. The group is facing seditious conspiracy charges from the 2021 U.S. Capitol breach. Federal prosecutors played audio in court of an alleged November 2020 Oath Keepers planning meeting that discussed plans to bring weapons to Washington and prepare to fight on behalf of former President Trump. It's the first major piece of evidence that prosecutors have used to establish a plan by the group to allegedly descend on Washington and oppose the transfer of power. And President Biden heads today to Southwest Florida to see the catastrophic damage caused by Hurricane Ian. The president will meet with local officials, including Florida's Republican Governor Ron DeSantis. NBC's Bree Jackson has more.
A week after Hurricane Ian tore through Florida, floodwaters in parts of the state continue to rise. Meanwhile, Floridians are getting a closer look at what's left of their homes.
This is everything we've all worked our whole life for. And it's gone in a flash. So, yeah, it's bad.
President Biden pledges to help hurricane-ravaged communities recover, committing millions of dollars in aid to Puerto Rico after touring the destruction Hurricane Fiona caused weeks ago. He'll be on the ground in Florida today to survey Hurricane Ian's wrath.
This is an American crisis. We're all in this together.
Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis, an outspoken critic of the Biden administration, says federal, state, and local leaders are working together on their response, but fears those efforts won't be enough.
So that's why we want private organizations to step up and fill some of the gap here.
Search and rescue teams are still on the ground with a focus on areas hit hardest by the storm.
Most likely we're on recovery now, and that's very difficult.
Residents in minority communities say help has been slow to arrive, leaving people to fend for themselves.
Because we are Latino, Black, poor people, working people, that's the way it is.
What are we going to do for the ones who fought through the storm and are still alive? Because if they don't get the resources, they're going to die.
Later today, President Biden will meet with survivors of Hurricane Ian. His message to those impacted, the federal government is ready to help. Bree Jackson for NBC News.
Coming up in sports, we'll have the recap of Rhinelander's swim and dive team's last home meet. And we'll tell you if Aaron Judge managed to break that home run record he's been so close to.
All right, we're looking pretty nice out there. People making that morning commute. But when could rain move back in? Your full local forecast is coming up next.
When it comes to croutons, I want them fresh, I want them big, and I want them flavorful. The trick to getting all three lies ahead. So don't go anywhere.
It's a night of incredible artistry when the rising stars of ballet come to the Grand Theater Wausau. The American Ballet Theater Studio Company showcases a mix of classical, contemporary, and original work performed by the next generation of one of the nation's most prestigious companies. The American Ballet Theater Studio Company, Saturday, October 29th. Tickets at grandtheater.org.
Hey, here's a fun fact. 3 out of 4 members of Congress were already professional politicians before they even got to D.C. And then they cash in and become lobbyists. It ain't me. I'm Derek Van Orden, a retired Navy SEAL with 26 years of service. And I will pass term limits and ban congressmen from ever becoming lobbyists. I'm Derek Van Orden, and I approve this message. Let's try something different. Let's change the people we send to D.C.
For a new countertop, make your selection at Creative Granite's Indoor Warehouse of Minocqua. From 50 colors of granite and quartz. Work with a crew that will stay with you from measuring and fabrication to final installation. Call or stop by Creative Granite today.
Add that finishing touch to your landscaping with Premier Nightscape Lighting and Design. Get that perfect ambiance for your outdoor living space and make it safer at night. Premier Nightscape Lighting and Design is your Northwoods place for specialty outdoor lighting solutions.
Hey class, this is Lily.
When you see things differently, you can be the difference.
Welcome.
Capella University looks at education differently. Our FlexPath learning format helps you control the pace and cost of your master's degree. Make your difference with Capella University.
And welcome back as we start things off here on this Wednesday morning. The daylight's starting to come out now, and we'll see a little bit of sunshine for a while this morning. However, that's not going to be the case as we head towards the afternoon period. Right now, things in downtown Rhineland are pretty quiet, but we do have clouds moving in from the west to the east. That's going to obscure that sunshine later today, and a slight chance for a few rain showers cannot be ruled out during the afternoon period. We have a couple systems. We have our eye on one's located right about in here, and further off toward the north, another front, and this one here is really going to change our lives in a hurry, especially as we head towards the daytime tomorrow, with cooler temperatures and rain and a little bit of snow Thursday night that we'll have to watch out for. Nothing ridiculous, so you'll just notice it, and that'll be about it. No accumulations as the ground's too warm and it won't be very heavy. Otherwise, though, temperatures right now, we're in the upper 30s in Lincoln County, a natural cool spot there. Other spots are in the 40s this morning, even 48 degrees over in the Rhinelander area this morning, even 50 degrees over in the Marshfield area as well. Temperatures have been warmer over the past few days, so look at this. We've had 60s and even 70s, but before that we even had that cool down, so we went from cool to warm, and we're about to really cool off again. So if you do enjoy those warmer temperatures, today's the last really good day for us to be above normal, as our average high is 60 degrees. We'll be in the upper 60s, 2 lower 70s today, then really cooling off. Thursday, 50 degrees. That high temperature will be hit early in the day, so we'll cool off into the 40s and 30s throughout the day. Middle 40s for your Friday for that high temperature. Then the warm-up kicks in by Saturday and into Tuesday with 50s and 60s, making a return about normal for this time of the year. Fall foliage is really in full view right now. Many areas in that 51 to 75% coverage area, so near peak is the best way to describe it right now. And starting to notice more of the fall foliage further down toward the south. With the North Woods, this is that prime time to really get outside and enjoy the fall foliage. We received many pictures. Thank you for sending those in. Definitely a lot of beautiful scenery to be had this year across the North Woods, at least until the leaves blow away. But otherwise, though, futurecast moving forward, a mostly cloudy sky expected this afternoon. Slight chance for a few rain showers. We'll have more rain showers on the way later on tonight of the daytime tomorrow as that other system moves in, along with the cooler temperatures, and then more rain showers developing as well. By Thursday night, we'll have a few leftover rain showers, some of those coming off of Lake Superior, and some of those could change over to a few snow showers as well, with temperatures that will fall below freezing. Nothing ridiculous. You'll just notice it, and that'll be about it. How much rain can we possibly see before we're all finished up? Some areas could see up to maybe a quarter of an inch of rain or so before we're all finished up. So nothing dramatic, but some accumulating rainfall on the way for a few of us. Again, rainfall, not snowfall. Any snow that falls will not accumulate. Mostly cloudy today, slight chance for rain showers. Highs in the upper 60s to lower 70s, with that southwest wind getting up to about 15 miles per hour. Later on tonight, cloudy with rain showers, lows in the upper 40s. That northwest wind getting up to about 5 miles per hour. And that Northwoods Furniture and Mattress 7-day forecast. Here we are Thursday. Rain showers, highs in the lower 50s, and that arrow right there indicating falling temperatures throughout the day, eventually into the upper 20s that night. For Friday, though, partly cloudy, temperatures in the mid-40s, just a little bit cool. We're dry and warmer for the weekend. Partly cloudy, temperatures in the 50s. The upper 50s to lower 60s Monday and Tuesday, with a chance for rain showers.
Thank you, Devin. So records were being broken left and right yesterday. From the local high school swim team to national baseball players, history has been made. Serenity Douglas has all the details.
Don't you just love high school sports, especially local? Rhinelanders Swim and Dive had their last home meet of the season yesterday. Let's take a look at some highlights. On top of it being their last home meet of the season, it was also their senior night. Rhinelander took home a total of 12 goals in relays and in individuals. Abby Winnicky swam away with the record in the 500-yard freestyle with a time of 5:11. The record was previously 5:13, set in 1979. I had the pleasure of speaking with Abby before she swam.
We're staying working hard. We've been in the weight room, and we haven't backed off yet. It depends kind of where you are in the season. And I just think this year the girls came in with different goals, and something was different about the team this year. I feel like we were closer.
And again, congratulations to Abby on breaking a 43-year-old record. The Hodags swam away with a total of 128-41 win and will compete in conference in the next 2 weeks. Let's jump out of the pool and onto the court. It's Tomahawk volleyball time. The #1 team had their senior night yesterday playing the Rhinelander Hodags. The Hatchets were able to stay on top with their home crowd advantage. They really showed out for their senior night. And Rhinelander was not able to find their footing, and they made a lot of mistakes, and it ultimately cost them the game. But Megan Scholes is one of the seniors Tomahawk will be losing next year. And I was able to catch up with Coach Hansen to learn more about her.
Megan is a great leader. She's not just an individual player. You'll hear her on the bench when she's not in. She leads by example out on the court, and we're happy to have her.
The Hatchets will face off with Wittenberg before heading into conference play. We must look at the bright side. The Crew fought very hard all the way to the end. 3 outs away from the postseason elimination, they were able to rally together to score 3 runs in the 9th inning. Then scored twice in the 10th to steal a must-have game from the Arizona Diamondbacks. However, still, unfortunately for them, the comeback celebration didn't last long. The Phillies needed to win to take the 3rd and final wild card spot in the National League. Shortly after the Brewers came back, which it seemed like a miracle, the Phillies completed a 3-0 shutout against the Houston Astros. While we're on the topic of baseball, history was made yesterday. New York Yankees slugger Aaron Judge breaks single-season American League home run record of 62. The record was previously held by Roger Maris. Judge connected for the record home run off Rangers starter pitcher Jesus Tinoco in the 1st inning of the 2nd game. Records are not new to Aaron Judge. He also holds the American League record for rookies with 52 back in 2017.
Coming up, find out about all the festivities going on tonight at the Plover Fire Department. But first, Howard is in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen with a recipe for crispy croutons.
Mr. Food Test Kitchen is brought to you by Golden Carrot Jewelers and Creative Kitchen and Bath Studio.
When it comes to salads, we all know it's important to start with fresh veggies. And if you don't have a good dressing to drizzle over it, why bother? Well, that's how I feel about croutons. I want them fresh, I want them big, and I want them flavorful. So let me show you how to get all of that. It all starts with the bread. We need to cut 1/2 to 1 inch pieces. I like to use either French, Italian, or sourdough. I don't recommend starting with sliced bread, as you want your croutons to be big and hearty. Now, we place some melted butter, olive oil, or a combo of those in a bowl, along with a little garlic powder, salt, and pepper. Drizzle it over the bread chunks till they're evenly coated. Then, place them on a baking sheet and pop them in the oven. The key is to make sure they're fresh, crispy, and loaded with flavor. And don't forget, these are just as good in a bowl of soup as they are on top of salads. To get the recipe for our homemade crispy croutons, all you have to do is check out our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a crispy, crunchy way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Food for Kids needs volunteers for October 22nd. To help, go online or call today.
We're paying more for food, gas, and rent. But Tony Evers wants to take even more of our money. He tried to raise the gas tax by 20% and double the tax on our heating bills. Evers wanted to use our tax dollars to pay people who refuse to work. And he wanted to give taxpayer-funded benefits to those who entered our country illegally. Evers even opposed drug testing for those getting welfare. We just can't afford 4 more years of Tony Evers.
Update your bathroom's flooring with sheet vinyl from Menards. Easy to install IVC sheet vinyl is waterproof and has a durable wear layer to resist scuffs and stains. Get 11% off all IVC sheet vinyl. Finish off your bathroom renovations with a new bath fan by Delta Breeze. Strong performance mixed with quiet operation makes this energy-efficient bath fan the perfect choice. Save 11% off on Delta Breeze bath fans right now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
Come to Carpet City Flooring Center's biggest sale and get the best for free. Through Saturday, get free installation on our best-selling carpet, free estimates, and interest-free financing. That's right. Free carpet installation, free estimates, and interest-free financing. Only at Carpet City Flooring Center. Come see why contractors and designers choose Carpet City Flooring Center for their flooring needs. And get the best for free.
Carpet City, our prices will floor you.
I'm Sheriff Jim Johnson.
I'm Sheriff Eric Severson.
We've got the real story on Mandela Barnes.
Barnes wants to defund our police, but he spent over 600 grand of your money on police protection for himself.
Barnes wants to eliminate bail for violent felons, and his administration has already released over 800 criminals, including 44 child rapists.
Take it from us.
Mandela Barnes policies are a threat to your family.
I'm Ron Johnson, and I approve this message.
This portion of Newswatch 12 is brought to you by Northwoods Furniture, Eagle River. You're watching Newswatch 12 today with Jackie Smith and Devin Biggs.
Stop by the Plover Fire Department's open house today starting at 5 p.m. It'll be an evening full of fun and free activities for kids of all ages. There will be a live fire demo, and the Aspirus Medevac helicopter will be there to put on a show. There'll be a junior firefighter combat challenge for all those aspiring firefighters out there. And of course, there'll be food and basket raffles, and free smoke detectors will be available through the American Red Cross. Stop by from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Plover Fire Department on Post Road. That sounds so fun. I loved touring firehouses when I was a kid.
And it's still really cool to even look at it as an adult, too, because obviously they've really changed since we were kids. So, I mean, a lot more high-tech. I mean, it's still the most important part, and emergencies are there when you need it. You hope you never need them, but they're there when you need it. And obviously some good public safety and community involvement, too, which is important, too. You want to know that these emergency workers are there for you. And and they also give you some tips, like the smoke detectors, too. Carbon monoxide detectors, definitely will stress that as well, because you never know, your furnace can malfunction, and next thing you know, you're in trouble because there's no way to find out about carbon monoxide. It's a tasteless, odorless gas, and we're getting into that time of the year where the heat's going to be needed soon for some people, so definitely need to make sure those are ready.
Yeah, very good to keep that kind of on the back burner. Not even the back burner, the front burner, just kind of having it always ready. And I mean, I guess nights like this are kind of there to educate everyone and provide some fun.
For sure. I'm not sure if it's law in Wisconsin. I think it is, but I know in Illinois for sure it is law that you have to have a carbon monoxide detector as well. So Wisconsin, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to guess I think it is. But
maybe if it's not, good to have one.
It's good to have one, even if it's not law. But otherwise, so I think you're ready for a little bit of education, right?
My brain's ready.
Let's do a trivia for today, and this one was kind of inspired by our director, Cade, this morning. How many tornadoes did Wisconsin see in September 2021? Last year, was it 1, 2, 4, or 6? How many tornadoes did we see in September 2021? The answer when we come back.
This portion of Newswatch 12 is brought to you by Stone Innovations, Rhinelander and Plover.
What kind of popcorn do you think you want today?
Hi, Tom.
Hi, I'm here to fill my bucket.
That's great. I'd like you to meet our new owners, Jim and Pam.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Cheesy Carl?
Same great company and products, just with new faces as the owners of Minocqua Popcorn and Puffs.
I'm Jonathan Lawson, here to tell you about life insurance through the Colonial Penn program. If you're age 50 to 85 and looking to buy life insurance on a fixed budget, remember the 3 Ps.
The 3 what?
The 3 Ps.
What are the 3 Ps?
The 3 Ps of life insurance on a fixed budget are price, price, and price. A price you can afford, a price that can't increase, and a price that fits your budget.
I'm 54 and was a smoker, but quit. What's my price?
You can get coverage for $9.95 a month.
I'm 65, retired, and take medications. What's my price?
Also $9.95 a month.
I just turned 80 and I'm on a fixed income. What's my price?
$9.95 a month for you too. If you're age 50 to 85, call now about the #1 most popular whole life insurance plan available through the Colonial Penn program. It has an affordable rate starting at $9.95 a month. That's less than 35 cents a day. You cannot be turned down because of your health. No medical exam, no health questions. Your acceptance is guaranteed. And this plan has a guaranteed lifetime rate lock, so your rate can never go up for any reason. Options start at $9.95 a month. Plus, you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So call now for free information, and you'll also get this free beneficiary planner. Use this valuable guide to record your important information and give helpful direction to your loved ones with your final wishes. And it's yours free, just for calling. So call now for free information.
Call 1-800-554-4300 for your free information and your free gift. That's 1-800-554-4300. 1-800-554-4300. That's 1-800-554-4300. So call now.
Benny's Appliance Service, serving Rhinelander, Eagle River, Minocqua, and surrounding area. 35 years of experience, prompt professional service on all brands, emergency service available.
And a special birthday shout out to our Minocqua Popcorn winner this morning, Elliot Ernesi from Rhinelander. Happy birthday and congratulations. You win a half-gallon bucket of gourmet popcorn from Minocqua Popcorn.
Alrighty, trivia for today. How many tornadoes did Wisconsin see in September